Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video, we will look at density, calculating density, and investigating density. So, the most accurate way to calculate density of any solid, liquid or gas is to divide its mass in kilograms by its volume in cubic meters. So the equation for this would be density is equal to mass divided by volume. So an example would be what would be the density of an object with a mass of 10 grams and a volume of 5 centimeters cubed. Right, in this case, because we're given the mass in grams and we're given the volume in centimeters cubed, we can actually go and give the density in grams per centimeter cube. So we would have 10 grams divided by 5 centimeters cubed, which would give us 2 grams per centimeter cubed. So if we just have a quick recap on different states of matter, if we're looking at solids, solids are all held together in fixed positions. They cannot be compressed because there's very little empty space between the particles. They have a fixed shape and as the particles are held together tightly. They cannot diffuse as the particles are not able to move. They have a high density and they do not exert any pressure on the particles around them. If we look at liquids, liquids have a fairly high density as the particles are also close together. They cannot be compressed as there is very little empty space between the particles. They can diffuse as the particles are able to change places. They can take the shape of a container as the particles can move around. And they can exert some pressure as the particles are able to move and hit the sides of the container. Finally, if we look at gases, they have a low density as the particles are quite far apart. They can be compressed because there's space between the particles. They can spread out and move in all directions, so can diffuse. They have no fixed shape and move rapidly in all directions. And they can exert a lot of pressure as particles are able to move in all directions and hit the sides of the container. So if we think about density then, so density is the mass per unit of volume. So it can be measured in several ways. For most substances, the change from a solid to a liquid state does not mean a big change in volume. So this is because the particles stay approximately the same distance apart. So this means that the density of a substance, for example, iron, does not change that much when it melts. When a liquid changes into a gas, however, the spacing between the particles increases significantly. This means that the gas takes up a lot more space than the liquid, so its volume increases. So when the gas condenses from a liquid, its volume decreases. So there are different ways to investigate density. So important things in all of them that we need to remember is that we need to record the mass. We need to measure and observe the mass and volume of the different objects and use appropriate apparatus and methods to measure the volume and mass. So if we go and look at how this can be carried out, one way that we can use, or one piece of equipment we can use, is a displacement can or a Eureka can. So if we place the displacement can on some sort of tripod or brick, you can put an empty beaker under the spout and fill the can with water. So the water should be dripping out from the spout. So wait until the water stops dripping, then place a measuring cylinder under the spout instead of the beaker. Choose a measuring cylinder that you think will give you the most precise reading. So tie an object to a piece of cotton. Very carefully lower it into the displacement can so it is completely submerged. So you can collect the water that comes out of the spout in the measuring cylinder, and that will give you the volume of the object. You can then go and measure its mass. Then using the volume and the mass, you can go and calculate its density. Thanks for watching.